Hi everyone, Tasha here and welcome back to my channel. This is my stop on the Cat Scrappiness Merry Grinchmas video hop. Today I'm going to share with you an easy card tutorial featuring items from the new Merry Grinchmas release. This is an example of the card we're going to be making together. It's super fun with the cute little Grinch and dog and some stenciled snow flurries. The stamp set I'll be using is the new Merry Grinchmas stamp set from Cat Scrappiness. I'll be using this image and one of the greetings. For my example card, I used the Merry Grinchmas sentiment, but for this card, I'm going to use the Ho Ho Ho. For the background to create the falling snow, I'm using the new Snow Flurries stencil, and this one's great because it has different patterns depending on how you turn this stencil. So you can make all different types of snow flurries in the background. For the pattern paper, I'm using the Merry Grinchmas paper pad. These papers are awesome and they're all double-sided. In addition, I'll be using some cardstock and glitter paper in colors that kind of coordinate with the Grinch. To start the project, I'm going to start by stamping my main image onto a white piece of paper. I'll have all of the card measurements in the description below, along with the other supplies used. So I'm going in with a black hybrid ink since I'll be coloring with Copic markers. This way my ink won't smear. It's as easy as that, just stamp it right in the center. But since this is a single layer card, I'm not using any dies to cut out my image. I'm going to stamp another image on Post-it paper. This is full adhesive Post-it paper, so then this way I can have a mask for my little dog and the Grinch. And I'll just be using my scissors to fussy cut the two images out. And I am speeding this along. I'm just going to kind of go over a little bit of it and then I'll show you what it looks like when they were done. So here's my two little pieces all cut out. I'm just going to put those aside and then move on to coloring. For the Grinch, I'm using 3 shades of green markers. And this one, I picked 3 shades that were a little bit darker than my first example card, but any 3 shades will work. So I'm starting with the darkest shade and just kind of outlining his legs and body area and then his face. And then I'll go in with a mid-tone. I like to start with the darkest one for this Grinch so that this way I can kind of pull the color towards the center. So now going in with that mid-tone, I'm just going over the dark areas that I just created and then pulling again the color towards the center. I'm going over those legs the same way, and then I'll leave that area in the center of his face and the legs to color in with the lightest color. So you have kind of a highlight on your little Grinch image. After you're done doing all of the 3 colors, you can wait a little bit for it to dry and then add a little more detail for the fur. I do like to wait just a little bit and then go over it again. Next, I'm going in with red and I'm going to color his little shoes, the coat, the hat, and the Santa bag, just using those traditional red and green colors. And this is really quick to do. I'm just using just a regular red marker and I'm just going over it with just one color. And I'm just finishing up the bag and I'm turning my paper as I go just to make sure I stay in the lines. I don't want the red to go over the line since I will be ink blending the background. So this is one type of card you want to kind of stay in that in the lines when coloring. And then I forgot to color his hands on this one. On my example card I used red for like little gloves, but this one I colored his hands green. And then I went in with like a deep kind of a brown tone and I added just some shadows on the red color. For the fur around his coat and shoes, hat, I just went in with a light gray color to add just a little bit of detail. For his little button, I'm using yellow. And then I'm going to color the dog with 3 shades of brown, starting with the lightest just to give him an all-over color. And then the dog can be colored any color you want to, since dogs are all different colors. You can add spots, you can make it look like a dog that you have. So I just went over with a light brown color, and then I decided to make his little ears darker and then just add some deeper brown all over him to kind of just have a fur look. And then I used the darkest brown for his little nose and then blended everything together. And I just think this dog is so cute. I always like the dog in the Grinch movies. And this one he's just adorable. And again, you can color it any color you want to. I did add some pink to the cheeks and then went in with a little bit of a deeper pink. And then I had blue for the little gift. And again, you can make the gift any color you want to. Once I was done with my colorings, I used a white gel pen just to add a little details and clean up the eye on the Grinch and the dog, since some of the color did go over into the eye area, but it's easy to fix with a white gel pen. And then I added some little dots on the doggy's cheeks. Next, I'm going to use that masking paper that I cut out, and I'm just going to cover up the Grinch and the dog. It's okay if it's not perfect. Again, you just want to cover up as much as possible. Once I was done with the masking, I'm using some Post-it tape, paper tape, and I'm going to create an area that I want to use for the ground. So I just made sure that it was covered up before I started ink blending the sky. The sky color that I'm using is Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink. I love this shade of blue, and I decided to use darker around the edges and then again pull the color towards the center so that there's kind of a highlight around the Grinch and the little dog. And it's really quick to do since I'm just using the one color. Next, I'm going to pull off one piece of that paper Post-it tape. I just added it to the bottom just to kind of secure it a little bit more since that piece was longer. And then I'm going in with a lighter shade of Distress Oxide ink to create the snow look. I'm using a piece of scrap paper and just going to have little lines. So you're just kind of blending little lines so that most of the bottom area or the ground is white, so it looks like snow, but you have kind of like that blue reflection. I love the way this looks, and it gives the Grinch and the dog a little snowy ground to stand on. After I was done adding my snow for the ground, I'm going to start my stenciling. I kept the masking on the Grinch and the dog for the first step of this because I wanted to make sure that I didn't get too much of the paste on top of the colored image. So I'm just going to go over with my glitter paste, and Cat Scrappiness offers a whole bunch of colors in glitter mousse, which is the same thing that what I'm using. And they have different shades of like glitter, and they have gold. They have a whole bunch of colors. So I'll have it linked in the description box below if you want to check it out. After I was done with that first layer of snow flurries, I'm gently pulling up the masking paper using my little poker tool. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of snow over the Grinch and the dog so that it looks like the snow is falling everywhere, because sometimes when you're having snow in the background, you forget to cover a little snow on your image, and I wanted it to look like it was snowing all around them. So this is how it looks, and then I pulled off that bottom part. Once it was all dry, I'm going to go in and start making my sentiment. So actually, I put that card aside, but it is dry now. So I'm going in with a red ink, and I'm stamping ho ho ho. I just wanted the card to be different than my first example card, so I have 2 Grinch cards to send out this holiday season. So I went in and stamped my little ho ho ho, and then I'm going to use my paper trimmer to just cut it out. I didn't know how big I wanted it, but then I decided to go with a thinner grading for this one. I'm going to layer that card with red and green, and then I did glue my layers on for the other card pieces just to save time. Now I'm just going to attach that center card, and then to raise it up a little bit, I'm going to use some foam tape, just some single layer foam tape, to attach the center card to the other layers. And this is just so easy to do, but I think it adds a little bit more detail having those cards raised up a bit. Again, using my Cat Scrappiness poker tool, to lift up the backing of the foam tape. It made it real easy. And then I just placed it in the center of the card. As long as you don't press down right away on the foam tape layer, you can kind of reposition it if it's not straight, which I love because it's hard for me to make things straight, especially layers. After, I use some foam tape on the sentiment as well. And again, using that poker tool makes it really easy to pull up the backing. And I'm just going to place that on the bottom. And I love the way this looks. So here's a close-up of the card we created together. And I just think it's so pretty with those sparkly snow flurries. And then there's my original example. I hope you guys enjoyed today's project and will give it a try and are having fun in the hop. Again, everything is listed in the description box below, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.